we're in there
Always
right
bad
now.
news.
I would bet serious money that like American Special Forces are like already there, probably on the ground. As soon as they get any idea of where a hostage is, I bet there's Americans creeping around in the dark. Yeah,
I heard Biden talking, and by the way, I didn't like what he said, but he's like, "You guys are all asking me, how are we going to get these hostages out? What are we doing?" He's like, "If I tell you what we're doing, then we can't do it." And I'm like, what, is SEAL Team 6 there? Like, you're giving me a lot of really good hints here. You know, I get it. You're taking it on the chin right now.
Yeah, they are.
People think that you're not getting Americans out. Shut the fuck up. That will all stop when you get them out. I'm sure SEAL Team 6 is like, you just made this 10 times harder. You basically told them we're on our way.
How many Americans are there?
14, I think, are hostages. Well, that's the number I heard. What do I know? But
yeah, it fluctuates, 14. But it's over a dozen alive Americans probably taken hostage, but it could be more. The numbers are sketchy, right? But yeah, they're definitely going to have to go in there and get them. They sent like there's like a Navy strike group right off the coast out there with an aircraft carrier. And when they send an aircraft carrier, they send a bunch of missile boats and stuff. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's there, but it's like on the way. It's been long enough now that I think it's there. I think if it seems like if we start sailing somewhere, we're always like 3 or 4 days from your back porch with one of our really big $5 billion boats.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, well, it kind of takes about 2 weeks to cross. But then it's like, what do you think they started in like Fort Lauderdale?
Virginia. Sail from Virginia, boys. Norfolk, wake up. We must go. Nah, it was like, yeah.
We got to stop keeping our entire global fleet in Corpus Christi. It's a bad move.
Yeah, we've got like people everywhere on the planet. It's real fun to see the map of our bases and the locations of our, potential locations of our nuclear submarines and all the strike groups and aircraft carriers and the power that we just have globally. I really enjoy it. I can't wait till we start cleaning them out. Taylor, you want to get out of the Middle East? I want in there balls deep. Not me personally, but look, I don't want to go play in the national championship game, okay? But I'm gonna be rooting the fuck out of Georgia when they get there. I don't want to take any hits, okay?
It's interesting. Do you ever run the math on like, are you safe from the draft? I feel like I've done it my whole life. Like,
I'm so safe.
First
with felony. Oh,
smart move.
Drug user? I can't pass a test. This shit shows up on drug tests.
So, all right, that's a good point. What was I going to say? So when you're 18, of course, you're in the hot seat, right? You're the first person they want to draft.
Yeah.
But maybe when you're 16, it's even hotter because it'll take a year or two to kick off the draft, right? If the war starts today, they use the volunteer forces for a while before they start drafting. Maybe. This is just my math. If you're like 28, then it's like, all right, I'm going to draft until you're 30. It's not bad. You're certainly not frontline. You're not their first choice. By the time they get to 30-year-olds, you might be 31, 32. At 37, I feel like, you're going to be pushing 40 by the time they start drafting people.
Is there a cutoff, like a hard age where they're no longer, or no?
The volunteer cutoff, I think, is 35.
Well, you're describing a global war where laws are going to get passed, where they're just going to say, and what do they do in Ukraine? Any man under 55, right? Like, let's go.
I mean, I take your point.
You identify as what now, soldier? Get in line.
Yeah.
Pick up a gun.
You identify as private first class, asshole. Get that AK.
Zach wrote something interesting. I'm an only son.
You drive a truck?
And my son's not above 18. So I guess he feels like his family status. Did that weigh into it in Vietnam?
Yeah, that is a thing. An only son played into it in Vietnam. I remember.
Or you could say that was a thing. Who knows what the rules are next time around?
I didn't roll in college just to make sure.
Oh, they'll change rules around. If they need people, they'll change all the rules and be like, hey, we're taking up to 44 now.
I think the college thing is definitely not going to happen because it was really a class like division. It made Vietnam fought by people who didn't go to college, and it almost seemed like privilege is a better way to say it.
Yeah.
So
wait till next time.
It'll always be that way.
No more student loans. We learned from last time. You got to have cash if you want to go to college and get your attention. Oh, that'd be fun.
That's interesting. Taylor says they'll always be privilege, and I'm like, oh, they'll never do that again. They really caught they figured it out. Maybe they'll do privilege in a different way.
The rich people's kids, like a senator's son, isn't going to be on the front lines.
We're not.
That might be a good way to like reduce likelihood of like going to wars. Is like any federal politician who like votes us into a war has to have a blood relative fighting.
I don't know why we would have a draft anyway, because it seems like most of our military jobs, other than man with rifle who charges forward, requires like years of training. Like if you're going to operate a piece of real machinery that ain't a truck or a gun, it's like years to make you that guy. It seems like, especially if you're a pilot or
man with a rifle is that
man.
guy too.
You can get man with rifle good and ready to go in like 3 months. Like he's good to go on out there and get some work done. Like for sure,
maybe 3 months if he's already in shape. Yeah, but I thought there are other jobs that like I could do right now. Woody, 40 miles behind the front line. We need someone who drives trucks back and forth. We take you from the triage to the real hospital. Drive that ambulance. I'm like, oh shit, actually, I could do that.
Actually, Nightwing, we've been reading your file. This right here is the X3000 paramotor. It has a top speed, if you're not going to believe this, 37 miles per hour. We're going to be sending you deep behind enemy lines, Nightwing. I know you're chomping at the bit, but please let me finish.
One time, my
look
buddy,
at him. He's taken off already. He loves the fight.
I had a friend. He's sort of a different. Well, he's still my friend, but he's married and not the same situation. But he would call me up and be like, "Woody, winds aloft are like 60 miles an hour right now at 4,000 feet. You want to go to Virginia?" And unless it was Tuesday or Thursday, I'd be like, "Yeah." And I had a ride once. I don't know how far. I think we went 120 miles in like 2 hours. Yeah. And
Gaza Strip zone. It's like what, the size of New Jersey?
Yeah, it's like a 55-mile-an-hour tailwind at 5,000 feet. So we just went.
Not a lot of space.
I wonder, Zach, help me with this information. What does it take to join the IDF? Like if you're a foreign national and you want in, do you just need a passport and a drive, or do I need like a percentage of Jewish heritage, blood, so to speak, Jew blood? To put it plainly, do I need, how much Jew blood do I need to like be able to join up with the IDF?
They're like, Mr. Myers, we can't let you in. You can't show up with the blood and vials.
My friend Harley hooked me up.
He gave me a big bag of Jew blood.
Harley's so woozy.
He's so tired. He's so sleepy.
For the homeland. Because I know if Harley were to like get on a plane and land in Tel Aviv, they'd be like, all right, soldier, extra large helmet, huh? Like they just throw him right in there, because they're mustering right now hundreds of thousands of foot troops.
I think everybody knows military service in Israel is mandatory, which means that all these like 25-year-olds are veterans and kind of ready to get right back in the game.
I'm hearing what I'm hearing is that like the last like the current class, if you will, or maybe for the current generation of IDF was complacent and ill-trained, and maybe they didn't have their eye on the ball or weren't motivated because I guess nothing horrible has happened for a while. But I've been watching a bunch of CNN. What's going to be crazy?
They're all better than us, though. They are ex-military and knows how to. I lumped you in there. You can operate a rifle better than
I don't know. I don't know anything about being in the military though. I don't know. Like you'd say some military shit. And you'd be like this,
fake
and
I'd be like.
I'd be like, well, you want to go? You want to go? He's like, oh, you're gonna kill me, huh? Oh, let's fucking go. Let's take this shit off.
Yeah,
because I'm the American. I came here to fight with you, brother. Oh, we're gonna have some pop. He's trying to tell me like down and be quiet and cut it out and shit. And I don't know his army man hand signals because I'm a fucking guy that shot watermelons on YouTube. So, but what I would say is that if they have 300,000 or 400,000 man army that they're mustering, that would seemingly be because they're gonna maybe form a perimeter, make sure we're secure, get the borders guarded, but then invade an area that's the size of New Jersey and is half the population's 18 or below, right? One of the most densely populated areas on the planet. They've been dropping whole neighborhoods for a week now. I mean, just man, that is some shoddy construction work. It's almost like they made it out of mud brick because no one lets them have building supplies, but who knows?
Yeah.
that they've been dropping whole blocks of neighborhoods, but I think they're going to invade. I think they're going to go in with like boots on the ground, door to door, like we did in Fallujah.
When Russia was threatening to invade Kiev, I saw this Ukrainian soldier being like, "Come, I dare you." There'll be a rifle pointed out of every window. Every civilian is an information source on your location. It is not safe here. Bring it. And I don't know. I was just like, holy shit. And by the way, that all sounds true. I mean, not every window, but there will be snipers. There will be all Russians are just going to get picked off in Kiev, and they'll go guerrilla warfare on it. So, Kiev. Anyway, so they're going into Gaza, and my knee-jerk reaction, my first thought was like, dude, Israel's just way OP in this, right? They're going to smash these guys, and they have combined arms and the whole nine. But then it's like, it's hard to beat a motivated bunch of guerrilla warfare guys.
Mm-hmm. It is, but if they're like doing like huge carpet bombing raids, and like I don't think Gaza even controls their own water supply.
Oh, let me speak on that, because
if you control, if I want to invade your house and I control your food and your water, there could not be an easier invasion. Like, so I just wait till you're destroyed.
Kyle needs.
So in general, the citizens of Gaza have like an amount of water each that they have every day. It's below, like, there's some health organizations, like a human being, the exact amount of like 4 liters of water a day for X, Y, and Z. They get like 2 or something. Funny math, but you get my point. And so they have these big black rain barrels on the roof of every building. If you look, you'll see them. Big barrels. They're full of water because they're storing up water because they don't have enough on tap daily. Of course, the other people do. In any case, they are, to be fair though, they didn't build any water infrastructure for themselves, and you know the Israelis have all the water. Luck of the draw, but the Israelis have all the water. And look, they're not selling the water. Okay, they're giving it away. So
are
I
you
would
sure
say
they're Jewish?
No,
now?
I'm not sure. I'm making that up. I'm not sure. They're not selling the water when they got all the water. That'd be awful. And the Israelis are good. You remember that? There's a speech at the end of Julius Caesar where I think it's Mark Antony. He's up there and he keeps saying an awful thing that Brutus and Gaius has done. You know, look how they rent noble Caesar's body here. Look at the wound there where Cassius's blade stabbed, and where Brutus's like wound fell. And he's like showing, but these are noble men. Who can deny that these are noble men? He keeps going back to that. That's his fucking chorus for the fucking song of deception he's singing. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things. I don't know Shakespeare, but I know that speech. I love it. I relish it I play it all the time.
Is it in Rome, the TV show?
So they don't do the speech itself, but what you get, and I actually like this, is they have common folk in a bar describing having heard the speech. They're like, fucking Brutus go up there. And he's all blah, 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 economy, numbers, money, this and that. And Mark Antony got up there. Everybody likes Mark, you know. He's at first, he was saying how what they'd done was good. And then I started thinking maybe it wasn't. And there's like, it's his slow-witted like brain. Like he's explaining how he was duped by the slickest guy in Rome because Shakespeare's writing him to just completely win the crowd over and turn a crowd that was there to be like, yeah, down with the dictatorship, to one that was like, get those motherfuckers that fucked up Caesar. At the very end, the crowd is incensed. They're roiling. They're ready to get somebody and burn a fucking house and get their wives too. And he's like, wait, noble friends, you have forgotten the will of Caesar that you would bid me read. Give me a moment. Let me read what Caesar has left unto you. To each and every man 100 dinar. And everybody's, Caesar's so generous. And he has left unto every Roman man to walk in his orchards and his parks and his gardens of leisure. For all time they are given to the Roman people. Oh, mighty Caesar. Oh, and then it's just, he's got him boiling by the end of it. I love that fucking scene.
That's
And
cool.
Charlton Heston's like one of the best actors ever.
I think where Kyle was headed, I think Israel turned off the water, food, and electricity
and the food and
a couple days ago.
Yeah. Well, you don't last long with no water, food, electricity.
Without water, 3 days. Right? So,
yeah.
I know Kyle's.
Well, they're not out of water. They're just out of water pressure. What's interesting is you can see as they run out of fuel for their generators, because at first it was like, yeah, it's Gaza, that dimly lit place over there. And it's like, that's Gaza, that place. Yeah, you see a window there, and that's where the hospital is. You can tell because they have generators. And now it's like, yeah, it's that dark, murky land in the distance. And I'm just imagining, like, now that they've got the whole city or the whole place, I don't know what to call it,
region,
fucking blacked out. Now they can send in those fucking scary ass tier 1 ghost warriors that see fucking your body heat and shoot suppressed machine gun bullets in the night with robo dogs and shit. I wish that I could watch a movie about what's happening right now with special forces in Gaza.
We just glossed over it. They shut off their food, water, and electricity. The hospitals, they're dark now. All those babies on intubators, they just died. They're done. Everyone who needed electricity to survive in that hospital is dead now. It's unfathomable to me that, like, what, a hospital with no power? No. They have like backups, and then the backups have backups. They're out of power. All those people are going to die. And by the way, imagine the hospitals are quite busy right now.
The ones that are standing.
So, and no water. Like, no water. Now, Kyle said no water pressure. I don't know how to differentiate.
I was just kind of joking about their horrible situation. More of her saying that they've got like those tanks of water. So like they've got
for now
water.
They're probably rationing.
Oh yeah, I mean they're going to run out of water to drink and food to eat, and
like this
they won't have any. Some people are out of water this second and have been out of water for a couple of days, I'm sure. And then there's some guy who's
going to start fighting each other, perhaps.
I'm sure there'll be people who like never run out of water. They're like, yeah, I have so much. But
that guy might get shot by his friend.
I saw him using phosphorus last night.
Israel did.
Yeah, lots of.
Isn't that against the war rules?
Whose rules are you speaking of?
Yeah, exactly. Even America sent cluster bombs to Ukraine. And I was for that, by the way. But those rules apparently seem pretty.
We didn't agree to that. So the cluster bomb thing, there's like 3 countries that didn't sign on, and it's like us, Russia, and Korea or something. Oh, that's the mine one. But there's a bunch of them that are like that. They're like, yeah, no, we're not going to take our force multiplying thing that we developed that cost that over the last few decades that kills the shit out of you. We're going to keep using it. Phosphorus. You'll see if you watch the footage, you'll see little bits of white burning stuff falling down seemingly slowly.
Like
but if it touches you,
like the 4th of July.
Yeah, if it touches you, it just burns you horrifically, and it starts lots of fires too. I'm surprised lots of Gaza isn't burning already if they're using that. I saw them use it out there. You've probably seen that, like,
can I say something?
That place where the boats are, the lagoony area. I saw them hit that with that stuff.
I just linked together. Maybe you guys are. I bet everyone listening to this is faster than me, but I'm like, oh, actually, white phosphorus burning down on the buildings is a rough combo with no water. Like, those two things work together.
Oh no, yes. Water makes white phosphorus worse. Actually, sand is going to help them here.
So I agree with what you're saying.
We have what we need.
But we have the rest of the building to concern ourselves with too, and the building, burning the building next to it. And water's, I think, part of the solution.
Primary building material seems to be mud brick.
It does,
I don't think that they control their own like construction
building
material.
Supplies.
Like everything has to go through Israel, right?
Oh. I would imagine so.
Yes. I think so. Everything else does. The people do.
Yeah, I would imagine if water does, I would imagine
it's an open air prison. That's what Gaza is. So let's just apply those rules. I think they use mackerel as money.
They might be using Max because they clearly don't have access to anything that
they can't have cigarettes.
Israel doesn't allow them to have.
Well, you know what he says. Fuck around and find out.
I'm really struggling with that and my own hypocrisy, right? Because I'm like all about this Ukraine. I'm obviously we should go in there and help. And then it happens in Israel, and I'm like, neither side has a halo in this. And like, I don't know if I'm right
believe
to
in
say
angels?
that.
I'm pretty sure that's anti-Semitic language you just used.
That's wildly anti-Semitic.
In my defense, it comes purely out of ignorance.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, the whole thing's awful.
It is.
You know, I don't blame anyone for what I don't blame the Israelis for what they're doing, because it's like, you got to be so mad and just want blood. Like if that happened here, look. Now I will say this: my hands are a little bit cleaner than the Israelis are, I would imagine. But if that happened here, you could imagine the hatred. I know Woody remembers like the motivation around 9/11. Like, you were mad at whoever did this. Like, we got to get that Osama bin Laden guy for sure. We should torture that guy. It's like, we should get him. I don't care about the rules. Get him.
About fighting Osama bin Laden if that scenario would ever happen. I used to consider.
All right, Osama.
Yeah, right. We send upon you, Woody, rip and tear until it is done.
I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah, but you know, he's 6'6", he's long and lanky.
I don't know.
He comes at you like
warfare.
Lincoln, right? He's got like some long
he would come at you like Lincoln. He was like 6'5", wasn't
he? Yeah, like tall and lanky.
I honestly
he's wearing those robes, so he's hard to get a beat on where to hit him.
32-year-old Woody kicks his ass. He does. I'm gonna fuck him up, I swear to God.
Yeah, well, now he's living safely in Argentina.
But yeah, what I'm saying is, like, man, that just made you bloodthirsty, and I get that's part of being a human, is being a bloodthirsty. Oh yeah, motherfucker. Well, let me show you what we can do. You don't even know what we're going to do when we find you after what you did to us. That's like in our blood. Like, you can feel it when you in a movie, when you watch an internet video and some poor old man is just trying to go through his day and some piece of shit's beating him, and then fucking Karate Master comes out of nowhere to kick that guy in the side of the head. You don't care that he fell poorly and his head hit the sidewalk. You're like, yeah, that's what fucking happens. You get brain damage for picking on old men. You get that. That's part of us. It's like, smash his skull, smash his skull. Like we're all ready to do that.
It's one of my core principles. You're allowed to win. You are allowed to be bigger and stronger than your opponent. That's within the rules. I every once in a while in hockey, I see some guy get called
Taylor knows
for a legal check because he's big. Yeah, right. I get some guy called for a check in hockey, and I'm like, no, he's allowed to hit him. He's just big and strong. Don't call a penalty for that.
Yeah.
Back to Israel, they attacked Israel, right? I think the math proportionally works out to be like 7 9/11 simultaneously on one day. Imagine if that happened to us. And
9,473.
like the amount of people they have dead compared to their population, etc. So anyway, now Israel's hitting them back, and I'm like, yeah, you fuck around, find out that's okay. Israel can. You did enough that Israel's justified a disproportionate response, in my opinion. But it makes it trickier for me when I consider that, like, they've turned
a lot of them are kids, and they are in an open air prison, and
they're in an open air prison. Their grievances were really legit. They just handled it in the wrong way. I wish instead of devoting that money to like 5,000 simultaneous missiles and paramotors and whatever, they just got attorneys. I bet it'd be more effective.
Attorneys against Israel?
If you think the Iron Dome is good, when you see our Lord.
Do you know how badly Israel would bamboozle the fuck out of Palestinian attorneys?
You thought we were tough on the battlefield. Welcome to court.
They'd have like jokes. They'd be like, "Who is Jewish? All of us say."
Okay.
I'm sorry, is this your first
influencers. Palestine. They just
Judge Yarmulke, how do you find?
Judge Yarmulke, how do you find? I don't think they're going to win any legal battles with Israel. I imagine Israel has a crack team of attorneys.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, I mean, look. All I know is when I watch, I'm like, oh, it does get to that point after a while. It's like, you got them,
right?
You got them. They're crawling away. They're like, yes, we know. Now it will be easy to hit them. It's like, well, hang on, you hit him. Now he can't crawl anymore. This is my favorite.
They're just warming up. They're only warming up. Like they may have accomplished disproportional response already.
I think they already got them.
100%.
I'm gonna be honest. They already got them. And everything that happens like now, it just really seems like it's like when that dad gets the pedophile, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes all the way. So they're going all the way, and I don't think anybody can stop them, and I don't think anybody is. I hope they don't strike Iran too much. I know they blew up some,
or at all.
Oh, interesting.
I know they blew up some landing strips in in Syria, maybe in Damascus, and then somewhere else because drones were being launched out of Lebanon and Syria at them from the north and I guess northeast. Geography is definitely not my strong suit, but yeah, if they go in there like Fallujah style, it's going to really kick off because then what you get is an insurgency because people from around the world are like, oh my God, are you telling me that Israel's going in on foot in Gaza? Man, that's what I do. He like shows you his medals. He's like Syria 2017 champion or whatever. Like that's how you get an insurgency is when you're like, hey, we're the people you hate. We're on the ground. Don't come in here, though. We wouldn't like that. We're dealing with your friends and relatives and countrymen and religion and the people who worship the same God as you. We're going to kill them. Don't sneak in here through tunnels through Egypt and Lebanon and Syria. But that's exactly what will happen. They need to get in there and get out. If they get in some protracted thing that's months and months like Ukraine is doing, it's going to be nasty.
Is it possible to end Gaza? Just
just take it. Like they want to
kill them all.
Like they absolutely.
I don't know what you do. Kill them all. Give them an opportunity to run.
How many of them are there?
There's a couple million.
1 and 2 million is. I've heard 1 million and 2 million. So that's a big difference. I get it, but there you go.
That's a lot of people. A lot of.
Do you just
kids
kill 100,000 of them and then give the other 900,000 an opportunity to leave and not come back?
Why don't they give them an opportunity now?
Oh, I thought
who can swim?
You got to kill. You got to kill 10%.
Head that way. America. Look, America's that way.
That's a long swim. Yeah,
you're goddamn right,
Taylor. Maybe it's a good idea to get. Actually, I think they're letting them out now, or are they just warning them? I forget.
They ain't letting nobody out.
I don't think they're letting anybody out, but I don't know.
But I do know that they're warning them before they bomb their building. I think we talked about this on PKA. And they either call or they send. So there's
they yell.
They said they're going to kill the hostages. No, I should have finished my sentence. They send a shell or a rocket with no explosion. So now all you have is the equivalent of like a tree hitting your house, but you've been warned. The next one's going to go boom.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
That's how you. Well, it is going on. You can tell because you get this footage where the Palestinians or Hamas or whomever is in the area will film the destruction of the building because they're going to hit this building in 30 minutes. Get the camera set up. So they'll have a GoPro in the street on a tripod. And the video will say that description is that in case you're wondering how we have why the camera is set up, because everybody's a conspiracy theorist, it's because the Israelis let them know that this is where they're going to drop their bomb. So we set up our camera here to film them drop the bomb. So it's, but they're not always giving them those warnings. Like I guarantee they dropped, Zach, I wish you'd find the number for exactly how many bombs they've dropped so far. It's thousands of bombs, thousands of buildings. It's got to be so many people. It's got to be It's got to be 10,000 people they've killed at least, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if they. It's
very densely packed.
Will they stop at 50, 100? Like I don't know what they're going to do. They're going hard over there, and seemingly no one in that country
6,000.
What 6,000 bombs?
Oh, he didn't say 6,000 what? Yeah, I took it as deaths, but
it's just that every night when I check CNN, they're like, they say that they did like 300 strike missions, or they launched, and it's just these huge numbers. And then when I watch the impacts, like I said, they're dropping big buildings and 14-story apartment buildings seemingly, and blowing up mosques, and they are going about as hard as they've ever gone. But if they go in there and land, that'll be a shit show. That'll be something I don't know that we've seen. I mean, Fallujah
they don't
was
really
that.
Need to. Like they have such control over the situation.
They want to go in there and get their people, and they want to go in there and like get their hands dirty too. Frankly, I think they want to go in there and like get them.
Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm close on that. Maybe not perfect. Is kind of hardcore about fighting. That's his thing. Yeah. And he's being sued. He was like about to go to prison or something. Like he was doing poorly. He's not popular, etc. And now they're rallying around the flag, and they're glad they have a hawk in there. So
yeah, it's a right-wing government. I know that, a particularly right-wing government. And then I saw a picture of him, I think from the 70s, maybe 71 or something, of him in his military fatigues holding a gun. like a fit, good-looking guy. Yeah, they're in their 9/11 post 9/11 American flag on every car mode, and they didn't really have a good George Bush at the rubble moment. They missed that part of the saga, but I feel like they're going to follow through with an Afghanistan imminently.
They might.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, time to wrap.
Yes, sir.
I suppose so. Let's hope the world doesn't fall apart before next week. Is next week the Halloween episode, or is it the one after that? It's
the one after.
So then the 19th. So the one. Okay, one after that. Okay.
All right.
Man, that thing over there is. You know what, Woody? I learned this week. It turns out they've been mad at each other for a while. These Israelis and Palestinians.
The Israelis and the Palestinians, you say?
Yeah, they don't like each other.
This isn't new. So you mean it's probably like 3 years old? Like this,
at least
this
3
feud.
years old.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't
like
know.
Sports rivalry.
I don't know how many years or whatever, but it seems like they've got like an ingrained sort of sports rivalry sort of thing going on, and it might even be cultural. I don't know. They all look the same though. So
yeah, could be ethnic. I think.
Yeah,
but I mean, military wise, like Israel, #1 seed Georgia, and Palestine. What's
Vanderbilt from last year?
A D2 school?
Vanderbilt from 2 years ago. I think we beat them 69-0.
Well,
it was something like that
on a good day. They don't have.
I think I remember being mad that we put like lesser players in because I wanted to beat them 70-80. Because when you do that, ESPN. There was a time when Georgia would never do a story about us. It felt like for whatever reason, like maybe we don't have a good PR department.
Yeah,
it's like they were just in Alabama all the time, and then they're like, "Oh, look, South Carolina did a thing," and it's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? We've been ranked ahead of South Carolina for years. We've never been sixth. We're always like third, but we didn't get a lot of media coverage." And so, rewind me a little bit. I
Palestine.
It was about Vanderbilt, 80 points, not coverage.
It's that kind of a whooping that's going down over there right now. I don't know if you've paid attention, Taylor. I've been obsessed with it. I'm gonna be honest. My girlfriend went to work and I was watching it, and she got home and I was watching it, and she's like, "Did you watch something other than that today?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I watched Gone with the Wind and Citizen Kane. I'm doing like a throwback thing this week. Lots of classics." Lies. I watched the fucking war. I watched every second of it, and I watched all sorts of. I go on Telegram, I go on Twitter, obviously, or X or whatever, and then Reddit has not been good. For some reason, there's not a lot of stuff on Reddit. And I've just been really obsessed with it.
They're slower to the punch with video content.
I have never seen buildings as indiscriminately destroyed in a urban area. Maybe since the Russians did it in Syria, I guess. But this seems way more dense.
Bakhmut is ruined. Maybe you don't have a good mental image, but there's hardly a standing building.
There's big neighborhoods of Bakhmut that are absolutely flattened, but this is so densely packed that it almost can't be compared to anything. It'd be like it's happening in Tokyo, you know what I mean, or like a dense part of Tokyo.
Yeah, because the West Bank is so tiny, like it's so much
like
smaller.
7 miles long and like 2
it's
miles.
Like 2 by 25 or something. Like it's way smaller.
It's like right? I think it's up to 6 or 7 miles wide and as narrow as like 4 miles.
Is
wide,
it all of Israel like the size of New Jersey?
Yeah. But Gaza Strip is this very tiny thing.
teeny.
And then what's interesting, I wish they would show this more often. I saw CNN did a thing where they showed the population density, like where the people are, because that matters.
Yeah.
You know, if you showed an alien a picture of America who'd never seen the picture of America, and was like, this is where they come from. Like, oh, they're spread out everywhere. It's like, no. They're all right here and right fucking here. The middle's empty. And that's how Gaza is. The Gaza Strip, the south or the north is where there was this big concentration of people, like 2 million of them there, like 20 hospitals in that area. And that's where they're bombing and tell them to get the fuck out. And the Hamas has been blowing up cars I've seen of people trying to get to the south. But I think for sure the Israelis, they're bombing everything. So they're definitely hitting some people who are trying to get south too.
The Israeli spokespeople have really caught my attention. Sorry, I just realized I interrupted.
I like the spokespeople. Oh.
Okay, I don't. It's bold-faced lying, right? So people don't know, they've cut off the water, electricity, and food going into the West Bank, right? Mm-hmm. So that is called collective punishment, and it is a war crime. They turned on the water, like the Biden administration put some pressure on them, and they turned the water back on, which you'd think like, well, that's important. You die in like 3 days without water. Yeah. But without electricity, turning on the water is kind of a moot point. A gesture that doesn't do anything. They can't pump the water.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And they don't have any fuel to run generators or anything. So they just like have, in theory, water.
That's like a tease. That's even worse than having no water on.
You know what this is like, Woody? This would be like if I showed up to your house and started burning your house down, but silly me, I came naked and I brought all my friends with me, and my friends, I tied them up before I started burning your house down. So now you in recompense are really mad because your house is burning, but here I am naked and unarmed, and here my buddies are too, and you just start beating us mercilessly. I feel like that's what's happened here. Like they really fucked around and found out the way I see it.
It's really complicated. I think Taylor will.
And every day they find out
these guys
more.
have been feuding for so long. It is okay. Let's all agree. What Hamas did was a terrorist act, a horrible one. Decapitating 40 babies, apparently that was bullshit. But they did kill tons of civilians indiscriminately. I saw the videos of people dead in their houses. These people weren't soldiers. They were just regular people that I really relate to.
I love Coca-Cola
like they were
Granny.
In bed. You saw them on the highways. These people were just driving, right? Yeah. And they got murdered for being in the wrong place at the wrong time because the murderers were just driving through and they're like, here's some. They killed every Israeli they could spot. And they did it in an effort to terrorize the population to make political change. That's what terrorism is. Let's lock that in.
Sure.
But it's an apartheid state, right? They were in an open air prison for a long time. Israel would like put them on a diet. The Israeli government propped up Hamas, making it so that they stayed in charge because they were a useful foil to make people like Netanyahu more popular. They like having an enemy because it's to their advantage. And finally, Hamas did almost what they expected them to do, an attack. And now they're coming back, hitting them 4 times harder. And I'm really torn up because anyone who's watched me, heard me talk before, says you're allowed to win, right? Like if you punch me once and I have the capability of punching you 6 times in return, then I should do that, right? Like I should win this fight. I don't have to just take us back to even. Fuck around and find out. But I'm having a hard time. I'm almost done. Just like straight up being unqualified Israeli, right? Like no qualifications. It's just pure Israel's right because I thought Israel was wrong before Hamas attacked. Then Hamas attacked, and now Israel's kind of righter, but it's hard to see the good guys here.
Yeah, it's a clusterfuck. Over like I saw Dick Masterson had a funny tweet about it. He was like, dude, there's 2 million people there. That's like Phoenix. If like 2,000 people from Phoenix attack you, do you go scorched earth on Phoenix? And I was like, no, I guess not. Like that's probably not what you do. This is not Phoenix. It's a different situation.
What if but the situation is that they elected Hamas. That is their representative government. They voted Hamas in democratically. Hamas's stated goal, it's in their charter, is the destruction of not Israel, but the Jewish people.
Here's where
Woody's not saying that
I'd build the fences high too.
That there's a good guy and a bad guy. He's saying like this is a clusterfuck. Like this, like if I see 2 people duking it out outside of a bar, that's how I want to treat this. Is I do not approach them fighting. I don't care if one guy's beating the ever-loving shit out of the other. And I think like this is not my business. I don't want to be involved in your bar dispute.
Well, nobody's talking about getting involved. I mean, we're not.
Well, pause on that. We're sending 2 aircraft carriers and 2,500 Marines. That could be just a show of strength. I acknowledge that.
That's so no one else does anything. That's to keep everyone else in line. If we go in, I promise you, I'll bet any amount you want, within reason. I promise you that what we're talking about here is they'll send in like SEAL Team 6 to go into some hole or some cave somewhere, but the Marines are not landing.
I agree. If we go in, I would add to what you said. It will either be 13 highly trained SEAL Team 6 guys, or it'll be 150,000 U.S. Airborne First Division. I don't know my Army that well. The 82nd Airborne, right? It'll be those guys, or the Marines with tens of thousands.
So here's another thing.
2,000.
Yeah, not one American should show up.
Here's some math. Here's some math that I found very interesting. I think Israel's calling up like 300,000 or 400,000 troops, right? 300,000 or 400,000 reservists.
Crazy.
So that lets you know that they are preparing to protect themselves from all of their borders, not invade with 300,000 or 400,000. They said that that army that they are calling up is sufficient to make a line around Gaza, 8 men for every yard. Like really? 8 men, you can make a wall of men around Gaza, of Israelis, with what they've called up 8 men deep for every yard.
That seems like a bad tactic.
No, it's a great tactic, Taylor. You issue them shields that go from eyeball to knees with a sphere. A sphere.
All right, I'm in. Like, you know what? That should be a part of war. Where like they're like, hey guys, we're gonna fight, but it's kind of like UFC, no eye gouging, no biting. We're going back to swords and shields just for this conflict. It's agreed. You start shooting guns, we got to shoot gun. You wouldn't enjoy seeing a nice ancient battle?
I mean, I'll let someone else do it, but America should stand their ground and keep their tech edge. Yeah. We're not doing that.
No, we don't have to participate. We get to watch Israel and Palestine with swords and clubs and whatever the fuck other tactics.
Wait long enough and they'll get there.
I have a high-tech idea that, Taylor, you're going to be on board with.
I'm in already.
Video drones. I want to see video of this whole thing. There should be so many fucking drones filming these phalanxes behind each other.
They should, and they should have the. And when we're like, guys,
spear cam.
They're American, but they're they're not armed.
I just went through that guy's mouth. Oh, they put sausage on the spears. Oh my god!
They put sausage on the spears.
Both sides hate
pork. That would be a
right.
No, you are pork eater. No, you are pork eater.
Can you believe that? Isn't it crazy that they're so alike? They're two religions. It's like, it really is like going back to football, because I feel like that's the best metaphor ever. This is like Georgia Tech fans. It's like, hey, we live 40 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
We're from the same area. We sound the same. You went to the tech school. I went to the state school. Like we're buddies, right? No, we are not.
I would go so far as to say that Israelis and Palestinians hate each other even more than Georgia and Georgia Tech fans.
My religion hates spit in my eyes. Mine too.
So see that we need to have a little come to Jesus. No, actually, I don't know if they would like that.
It's funny though. My take here is completely different from my take in real life. Because when people ask me, someone asked me, the repairman, I had a contractor fixing some drywall. And he had no idea what was going on. And I wanted to give him like the fair, straight version, and like no horse shit, none of my opinions about who's right or wrong about anything. He's like, what the hell's going on over there? I was like, man, those people have been killing each other for years. And when your grandfather killed their grandfather, back and forth, it doesn't matter where it started. So one side went in and killed a bunch of babies and women and children and burnt people and committed atrocities. And what they're saying, and just said that to him basically, and now this is the retribution. I pointed at CNN, and there's city blocks crumbling, and I see dead babies on the other side now, being drugged through the streets.
3-1, 6-1, something like that.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I feel about it. That it's all wrong. It's all awful. I hate it. I hate that those civilians are stuck in there. Those children. But you know what I see? God damn it! When I dig deep enough, I see some sort of weird Palestinian ritual where they got like the Palestinian flag wrapped around an AK, and they got that like a 10-year-old boy like fucking like, yeah, you're a fucking like soldier of Islam now, fucking like praying over him. And it's like the flag, the gun, and religion, and a child, and they were like programming this guy to be
like a Myers family reunion.
I mean, yeah, it took me back. I had a tear in my eye for a second. I started marching toward the fucking west because
because you don't know directions.
I bit my tongue as hard as I could till I tasted copper, and I woke back up and it had cold sweat, and now I'm good. I think this thing's not going to stop for a long time. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. I hate that those people did all that stuff. I wish that there's so much fucking hypocrisy. Like Egypt, it's not about Muslims and it's not about fucking religion either. Because if it were, every other Arab state would be like, oh, these poor people, come join us, brothers. Join us, brothers. I saw them in Iraq. Oh, we're out here 100,000 strong to protest for our brothers. Fucking bring them over here. Aren't you missing 1 million people? America's going to fix that problem we made for you, Iraq. We killed 1 million of you. We're going to give you 2 million to replace them. You know what? That's what I would run on. That'd be my platform.
Do you think they'd get along, or it'd be like a Muslim odd couple thing?
You know, the problem is those people, like, it's like Baptists and Presbyterians, you know? There's all those Shunies and
killing each other all over the West, the Baptists and Presbyterians.
Yeah, it's exactly analogous, you know, between Christianity and Islam.
I mix them up all the time.
I got to admit, I don't know the kind of Muslim Palestinians tend to be, and I don't know the kind of Muslim Iraqis tend to be.
I have a hard time keeping up with the Sunnis and the Shiites.
Kinds.
I know I'm supposed to pretend one's
Iraq,
good,
right?
Oh,
Sunni, Shiites, and Kurds, I think.
Are the Kurds Muslims?
I need to Google it.
I don't even know what a Kurd is. You mean like Kurds in Whey?
Mm-hmm. I've never had Kurds in Whey.
I mean, you have
Kurds are
like
Sunnis,
right?
So Shia and Sunnis, and I don't know why I made the Kurds a third one, but I think politically they're a third, but I'm fucking it up.
I have no idea.
Well, regardless,
oh my God.
There's 7 sects. That's too much.
Yeah, but I feel like there's 2 main contentious ones over in the Middle East. Like the Saudis are one and the Iranians are one. I just don't know which is which. It's, you know, they both got a different idea about things.
Do they have their own like Mormon group? Like a group that's kind of like, we're just here to
chill,
you know, have a lot of kids and have a good time and not curse or drink coffee.
The like Americanized modern liberal Muslim, like that person is just, they just like the rug.
They just like the rug.
They
I don't know this word.
Rug.
The rug. R-U-G.
They're just in it for that. You know, they're like Jews who like a yarmulke as a fashion choice. Like they are pretend Muslims. Just like and look, the same is true for Christians. All those wishy-washy fucking like Hollywood Christians and like fire and brimstone is the real shit. Like forgive and forget, but like there's rules to this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like atheism's the real one, and all the others are made up.
Atheism, just paganism, man. I feel like you should believe in things you could see. I believe in the sun. Why not worship that big fucking thermonuclear thing that's so big I can't fathom how big, that turns hydrogen into helium? Or is it the other way around and makes energy perpetually forever and keeps me warm and makes my food? That's closer to a god than anything we could even make up.
That would be a good thing to go back to. Worshiping the sun and moon.
Something called gravity that you can't even explain to me to keep me from hurtling off into the cold beyond.
I cannot explain gravity. I'm fucking
We're not
baffled
alone.
by it.
The scientists don't know how to explain it either.
I wish they could teach it better. That like I got the basic.
That rubber tarp doesn't do it for you for real? Because I was being silly.
I don't get it. I get the sphere that draws things to it, like a magnet with no polars, right? Just everything gets sucked into mass. Okay, cool. But then they put the sphere on a tarp, and now it sort of dips in, and things sort of fall towards it. And
so you're wondering why they don't just all fall to the middle?
Why isn't it? It's not 3D in their model anymore.
Speaking of sky machines, were you, when you were watching the Palestinian Hamas, Israel shit, were you like, that's a pretty nice paramotor, or were you like, dog shit, that's a terrible paramotor, off-brand, wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole?
I couldn't tell what paramotor it was, like the brand. I looked at the wing, and but mostly I was like, I can't believe someone actually used it in war. So the U.S. Army trains on paramotors. It's crazy to me. But I have friends that are trainers, and they'll just like, they love the students. It's really easy to train like a 25-year-old athletic, active duty, fearless person, you know, compared to somebody who can normally afford the sport. But we do it, and I'm like, this is dumb. You can hear me half a mile away if you're listening for me. And I move slow. I'm a really easy target. I'm bright in the sky. I just thought it was a dumb thing to do, but
I have to know
they kind of made it work.
Guy. You know, and the only way to deal with you is a rifle, because I saw somebody was like, why does the Iron Dome shoot them down? Because it's not calibrated to shoot some guy in a lawn chair moving slow as fuck. It's calibrated to shoot those rockets that are traveling super fast at super high altitudes. It's a whole different
thing. They can hit a
rocket.
They can hit a guy in a chair.
Again, they are calibrated for this. It is not Star Trek. Mr. Wolf, set it for paramotor mode. Yes, sir.
I don't know.
It baffles me that I don't know what they use to catch the rocket. Do they need a really hot running engine?
Well, you know what they say. There's only one way to stop a bad guy with a paramotor. It's a good
Nightwing, dude. If you went over there, like you could teach the Israelis to turn the tables on the repair skills.
I think the
first thing you need to know. This is a terrible idea. You're all going to die.
Are you guys positive? Because you have a bunch of brand new Tacomas. We could take these instead.
It seems like an idea that won't work twice. You know, the next time someone sees somebody in the sky at 50 feet going upwards of 26, 28 miles an hour coming your way, they're going to shoot it.
It's literally like invading via hot air balloon. Like it's insane. That hot air balloon invasion might be a better move because no one is going to expect an attack.
If you look at what they're trying to traverse, though, if you look at what they're trying to traverse, though, like what's better for the money? Because they're going through multiple layers of wire and traps and gates and roads and people who actually give a fuck, and they're zipping over those people in the course of 20 minutes or something. They're just flying over all the obstacles. And, you know, we've seen Woody do his thing. They can take off in somebody's backyard. I was shocked by the payload because I saw 2 dudes loaded down with combat gear on that thing with AKs and everything. And it's like, damn. Let's say there's skinny guys, you know, 140, 150 pounds. They're still got another 25, 30 pounds of gear. Those things carry 300 or 400 pounds?
I would say 500 plus the thing itself.
So you could put a 500-pound bomb on a paramotor.
Well, you need the pilot too. So
you can put
get a little guy. You need a little
380-pound bomb. Yeah.
Dude, you get a child and you put him in there.
I guess you could, yeah.
Can you not remote control it? It seems like that would be an easy
thing. I know an instructor actually that has a remote controlled paramotor so that if you panic, he'll land you.
What?
That's a good feature.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is better. I would feel comfortable doing it that way. As long as he's good. You know, he's good on this.
Very, very good. Yeah.
I'd want to play a couple of like video games with him beforehand. See
that can't be legal, though. Yeah. That sounds so scary.
Yeah, it does sound scary.
This guy's very good. He has a thing where he wears these oversized white boots. He's kind of famous for them. And when he launches, he leaves them on the grass, and when he lands, he puts them back on. Like, I couldn't do that.
Okay.
Does he? He lands in his boots.